have a look at the assignments that we've got for us to work with. So as I went through in class, assignment 1 is discussion board posting. Let's have a look at this. What I need you to do here is choose a mode or type of assessment, research its use and present the findings to the class as a discussion board entry. Then you will need to respond to another student's post and comment on it critically. I think critically is the real key part of this course, is that there's a whole bunch of assessment designs which exist that don't have any real critical analysis done by them. We just build them because we're in a rush. We need to get something that matches up with the learning outcomes of our course, and we just create them. Now, that's not to say that they are bad by any means. It's just really to say that we don't actually think critically about what we're doing at the time. So this is an opportunity for you to do exactly that. So what I need you to do is find a particular aspect of assessment, and it might be authentic assessment, it might be online assessment, it might be formative assessment, it might be multiple choice questions, short answer questions. I'll post up a list of all the things that you could think of to do, which might help, but you can choose anything that's related to assessment and then post it up on the discussion board. Your response to the other students posting needs to be critical as well. So just posting up some nice comments, thank you, this was really good, I enjoyed your writing, it was very informative, that will get you 0 out of 5. So I need you to actually think about these things critically. So that's the first assignment. Assignment number 2 is the big one. This is where you have a full assessment design for you to build. Essentially, you're going to design an assessment package which will cover all of the things that we talk about in assessment. So there'll be 10 selected response questions. These are like true, false, or multiple choice questions. 3 constructed response questions. These are like essays or short answer questions. A reflective task like a journal or a blog. 1 authentic assessment. So something which relates not just to the content that's being discussed in your course or your idea, but actually relates to the real world in some way or another. And each of these assessment tasks needs to have the appropriate feedback. You're also going to have to write a short report that goes with that, and that's important to put your assessment design into the context of the literature that says that this is an appropriate thing for you to be doing. Okay, we will cover this in more detail throughout the course, but essentially that's what you need to do. 55%. I talked briefly about this one. I think it frightened a few people. We're going to look at analysing the results of particular assessment tasks, and we're going to do that using spreadsheets and Microsoft Excel and going through some very basic classical theories on how you might measure key aspects of your assessments. It's not as bad as it sounds. If you're not very good with numbers, we're going to go through it in quite a bit of detail, and I think you'll find that you're quite comfortable with it. As I said in class, the main thing is that you actually report on the outcomes of the data that you analyse. So most people last year managed to analyse the data perfectly fine. What they couldn't do was actually interpret the data properly, and that's where a lot of the marks will be. The final assessment task will be about an evaluation, and that'll be due right near the end. So in this particular task, you're going to design an evaluation of a process or outcome that you're familiar with. So it's important that you're familiar with it, because otherwise it's going to be very, very difficult for you to design an evaluation of it. So it might be, if you're a teacher, it might be a process that you use at your school to develop new content or new curriculum or new quizzes, or a process that you use at school to let parents know how their students are going. It might be an evaluation of what people think about driverless cars or solar energy. It might be what people think about space travel. Anything, essentially, and it's, once again, it's relatively short, 500 words, and your evaluation framework is the key thing. One thing we need to do here is we need to basically understand that we have an evaluation process at the university that you'll be quite familiar with, or you will get quite familiar with, and that's the university CELTS, and that's where there are 2 types of surveys there that give the students the opportunity to put their opinion in about the courses that they do and the teachers that they have. So I don't want anyone doing anything like that at all, because that's too similar. it's going to be very hard for me to differentiate what you create and what's already in existence. So it'll be something different from that. And that's it. So the due dates of these are pretty much well spaced out. Week 3 for the first one, around about week 9 or 10 for the assessment, evaluation and analysis. The assessment design, we will build the assessment date due into a period of time around the mid-semester break to give people the opportunity to stagger their assessments with other courses, and also to maybe get some feedback earlier on than they might get if they leave it very late. That's it.